And they need that attention. They need that ego stroke. And sometimes just by drawing sympathy that's not warranted, it's good enough for them.
Yeah, please. To my subscribers, I know Stones was but we just talking because when you said that, I immediately go back to some moments where I operated, and I like the way you use operated in your fiction talent. You know what I'm saying? And I can relate to that. So if anybody's watching right now, you know what I mean, like,
turn off your sensitive ears.
And let's
chew the meat and spit out the blood.
It's tonight and we gonna have a conversation.
It's gonna be a real conversation. Like, it's too many people already that's validating the victim mindset and the victim mentality and making you feel like it's okay to be a victim and just to stay a victim. Don't rise up. Don't overcome your victimhood. We call people that overcame diseases a survivor. We call people that overcame, being victimized through sexual trauma survivors. So you can overcome your victimhood and be a survivor if you want to. So I think that's a lot of disconnect that we have to that's true.
So I think that's a piggyback off that. She said operating, of course, in your victimhood, not to get everything. I was it took me a damn year, literally. I had to go a year. I had to literally do everything. I still don't know where this person was. They got married in my name. You asshole. I was married to a lady in California, and at that point I was living in California. I was like, I really got the boy. And honey, I got a Cadillac in my name. I went and got a Cadillac as well. But don't be really. But nonetheless,
this story is
on my mama. It literally took me a year, almost like some change to get everything ironed out. And throughout that entire time, I kept telling myself, man, I can't do this, man. This sucks. I gotta go through all this. I gotta spend money. That's so and so that if I did not literally operate to get out of that, it wasn't stay there. If somebody did something to me, I'm like, I can't deal with it, man. I didn't do it to myself. I'm just a victim. And we never got my situation.
And so like, I'm sorry, there are some things that me and Trip we talk about a lot. I pay attention to a lot of our highlights when we're trying to help people get out of these mindsets or trying to encourage people. When you ruminate or you constantly recycle negative events and negative experiences, you're going to keep yourself stuck. Exactly. You're going to keep yourself stuck in that place. And so if you're constantly telling the same story, I'm telling the same story because I'm looking for sympathy for people. Because if I don't have that validation for people, if I don't have that sympathy for people, then who am I outside of being a victim? You constantly keep yourself in that space, you're not going to grow from that. And you'll see a lot of people who do operate in that mentality, since they are projecting this mentality onto other people, people see that this gets them the attention that they need. And some people need that. And so then you see other people adopt people's stories, and other people adopt this mentality. And that's the reason why we're always pushing back on just that idea, because it's like there's something else on the other side. And I'm sure many of us have been victimized. Yeah. I am one person who can tell you, out of all the trauma that I have gone through, it took my mentor to tell me. Before I even got into my own practice years ago, he told me, he said, how can you help other people and you can't help yourself? I have to sit in that and say, what does that mean? And when I sat in everything, I was constantly telling myself over again.
Yes, we are on everything.
Oh my God, I needed to validate what I went through. But it kept me paralyzed in the same state, and I didn't want to be in that state.
Being a victim like that and staying in it, it stunts your growth, right? All of us have been victims to something. It don't necessarily have to be a relationship, right? Me personally, I was a victim to gun violence, right? So during that time, I was young, 24. So to me, everything was about everybody else. They did this. Why did I didn't see myself? But then when I got out of that, it was like, look, you was out here saying, you was out here, man, getting the biggest friends and the loudest cars, all the chains, and all the showing out, doing all of this. So it took that look at myself to get out of that victim mentality and grow from that. And then it was like, all right, I don't need to do it. Mm-hmm. It was part of my problem too, for egging it on almost, or putting myself out there to be more victimized by somebody who's aiming for something like that.
Because people in that mentality, people in that mentality, the reason why they can come out of this is because they don't want to be burdened with responsibility of change.
Yeah, exactly. That's the word.
I was wondering something. I identify with some of the what you said completely. I think that when I first started my real journey of being a social media influencer, it was really by accident. Like the videos that I was making, when I look back at it, it was completely to validate people that were in a victim state because that's where I was. Like, oh no, you do deserve a good man because you're a good person. No, you deserve a good.
What movie is it, Mike?
Oh, the Phantom.
Oh, okay.
I didn't expect it was just, oh no, you deserve this, or you deserve that. You didn't get this. So when I listening to it now, outside looking in, I definitely can identify with that and definitely can appreciate and see where growth has happened and where growth can still occur within myself.
I want to preference this just to make sure this is not being lost on everybody. There will be some healing that you have to do, some adjustments that you have to do to victimize. So no one's saying that doesn't. No one's saying there isn't an adjustment period, right? I think what we're talking about is coming out on the other side of that and not making it so much of
your identity. Your victimhood cannot be your identity. You live when the thing that you thrive on and is known for and literally just live in is some shit that happened to you that was really messed up. I'm trying, like, dead ass, whoever's watching this, that's a really fucked up way to live. And I did it for a very long time. I stayed in the space of, oh, I'm the girl that was sexually assaulted at 17 and got pregnant. I stayed in, when I figured it out what happened, girl, I stayed in that space. And it was like, I damn near wanted, oh, you did that, happen to you too? Oh, trauma bond, it happened to you too? Oh, trauma bond. And it's, until you're ready to break out of it, that's really the conversation that has to happen. How do we break out of that victim mindset and that victimhood mindset? Because many of us really don't even know we're stuck in that cycle.
I had a conversation with my sister, something about that, but recognizing that as a victim, you have to not only accept that something was done to you. A lot of people, unfortunately, go through, I put myself in this position, how much responsibility that is on me. It never happened to me, unfortunately. So it's you start with, okay, I am the better side of this. I am what I was before I even went through this situation, experienced this trauma. And then go back to that versus becoming what of course it is and being stuck and complacent inside. My ultimate
I gotta flee, but it don't act right. I can feel it, but it's not.
It's to get back to that original feeling that I had before.
So let me ask you this question, because I know we're doing, a whole bunch of positive topics. We need to do that. But if I'm that person, maybe I don't have a lot other things going on. I don't get attention any other way. Like maybe I'm not the sharpest, the most funny, the most charismatic. Maybe I can't hold a room with my stories. But when I talk about this, I get 100 likes, 200 likes on Instagram. Like I understand the need to get out of that. But what if that's the only thing keeping me going?
You're looking for community that can be found positively. You're literally seeking out community, but you're looking for it in a negative space. There's positive places to be. If you want to, if you want to be, of course, feel good about something, go feel good about something good. Enjoy something.
Two things. One, I think what you said at the end is the work after doesn't always feel good. It's a work out. Right? The person who's victimized and knows the pain of being victimized, you have to go through similar pain to come up out of it. You know what I'm saying? Like if you got a broken leg, like heel broken, they have to break it again to set it back in place. And it's like some people have let their shit just like close, fucked up. But then, so when you become one of the people, because I've been that team, I actually
about to get that gap in between it now.
Because the stories were always the same, the poems were always the same.
Oh, you got the outline of
it.
No, just get outline.
Oh, like a rough
outline. It comes down to one or two things. Either you keep your wounds open to display to these people, or the people who have open wounds who are listening to you are going to start questioning why you don't look like them, why you don't move like them, why you don't sound and talk like them, because your wounds been closed. Eventually they're gonna realize it's like, bro, you standing on this. And I was that. I'm telling all of these hood poems from my suburban home. You know what I'm saying? I'm talking about all of this the issues with my mama. Man, my mama been straight. I'm disrespecting her every time I read these poems. You feel me? Like so it in order to actually move forward from being a victim, you have to actually lift your anchor up out of anything it means being there. Even the good shit, like the way you've championed being this thing, your anchor gotta come up out of that too. Like it's no longer a good thing for you to be a champion of something you're not. And if you've in any way closed your wounds from this particular issue, then it's like you're just dwelling in this pool full of people who actually need space, and you blocking the way. You feel me? Like so it's a disservice for yourself, but definitely for the motherfuckers around you to continue like wading in old waters that you don't have to swim in no more.
I want to go to that point because one, I think when we ask about consequences, one of the things
That means we gotta watch the old
ours
one.
is not avoid, even though we try to speak not to do it.
I have.
Cry wolf was that time. Yeah, even though it may like because there's so many people crying wolf nowadays, and people become desensitized to it, and just people crying wolf. A lot of them for attention. You know, people juicy. We won't say the names, but there are situations where people. There are situations where people, because they see the
You call
benefit.
that man juicy. I'm sorry.
But that's I don't want to get sued. Juicy. Well, actually, he's convicted now, so I mean, I guess he. I mean,
Yeah.
He did. But my point is, like, even to a point where people see the benefit in making themselves a victim. You know what I'm saying? And so what ended up happening to us from a societal level is when these. It's hard because you don't want to be the victim police, right? But like, it's so hard to really get the help you need to people that need it. Because it's so many people trying to.
So let me speak to what you were saying just a while ago. People who operate in that mentality, they don't outgrow themselves until other people outgrow them. So when they lose the audience, when people are tired of hearing the poor me story, they have to find something else. And that's where the introspection really starts to come in. This doesn't stick. Me constantly telling about my story, or everyone shares the same story. Just constantly looking for attention. It doesn't stick. So what do I do now? Now I start being my authentic self outside of what it is that I went through. Because what I went through doesn't define me. Once I have that click where I realize that my trauma and my experiences don't define me, that's when that wake up is actually there. Everyone faces that at one point. When they realize that it's the same circumstance, it's the same bad luck, the same story. You're constantly a victim of circumstance, it's always bad luck. Well, is it you? Is it at this point, because at a certain age and stage, you can't blame it on what someone did to you 15, 20 years ago. Because I'm sure there have been people who have highlighted these behaviors that you have, and you just didn't want to listen because you didn't want to accept the fact that that's who you were. People in that mentality and that mindset think they're perfect. They have an idea of who they are, and they have created this idea based off of what it is that they have gone through. So when someone can push against you to make you see that you are not perfect, you are flawed, that's where that pushback really starts to happen. But you also have to break down a lot of your ego as well, because it's always in the way. It's trying to protect you.
Would you say that there are people that use the victim mentality? Right now, I'm separating real victimhood.
Yeah.
So we're now talking to like interpersonal relationships, right? I play the victim. You know that term, playing. Are there people that do that to manipulate situations?
Yes.
And how do you handle that as the person? Like, because y'all got to. No, I don't want to get context yet. But how do you handle that as that person in that relationship or in that friendship with that person?
To the person that's receiving it.
Yes, because I'll get contact after you get that.
Okay, so let's just, I guess I can create a scenario. Let's say we have 2 people in a relationship and one person raises a complaint and the other person either becomes dismissive, defensive, or have a counter complaint. Or they kitchen sink and they bring up every single problem that they've had before. Well, at this time, if I bring this up, it takes it away from you pointing the finger at me. Because if you point the finger at me, I have to own up to what it is that I did to offend you or to create this problem. So I have that. Also, I can manipulate this situation and I can draw on sadness with you that makes you pity me. Because that pity validates whatever it is that I'm going through internally. Which I want to make sure that I say this. Just because you feel something doesn't always mean that it's accurate given the situation. A person can turn on tears very quickly.
Wait, let me go grab this pillow.
But people can do that. I mean, because then we have to look at mental disorders, but I'm not going to get into all that.
Huh?
But yes, that does happen. Now, if you're the person who is receiving that, you have to stay strong on what it is that you see. You have to let them know that they can. My complaint is the complaint that it is right now. I understand that you may feel something right now, and I'm not trying to invalidate the feeling. You have the right to feel that. This is my experience.
Gotta break.
This is my perspective. My perspective is not saying that you're wrong. It's me showing you that there's a difference in how you see things.
Help it.
It does not mean you're wrong, but you have to have that confidence in yourself. And also, don't be afraid to lose a person. If that person decides to walk off because they didn't have their way, good riddance. It's probably good for you that they do. But sometimes the only way that you can get a person out of that mindset is to hold the fire.
Let's get it.
Sometimes we have to manipulate situations for change. Even on the receiving end. Sometimes I have to literally give you the ultimatum for change. If that's what I have to do, I may have to take this risk. I can't be afraid that you're going to lose me. I can't be afraid of hurting your feelings. I'm going to have to take this risk because if not, I'm going to keep you in that comfort zone.
Well, I'm glad you said take that risk because I'm gonna tell you, most people that give that ultimatum, they not for real. They don't mean it. I want to let a motherfucker say, okay. Huh?
So you just gonna let me leave you? I don't want to force you. There's a manipulation technique that, and I don't want to say women. I've only dated women, but that of course people use in a relationship where it's like, oh my God, I got nobody else. You leave me, I'm gonna kill myself. Let him die. Because go ahead.
No, seriously. How do you deal with a situation like that?
Because I think that's one of the worst I experienced it. And she really at one point, she was like, I'm gonna take all these pills and it's there for me. And I was like, oh my God, this girl's gonna die. And I literally stayed with her. For like another 6 months.
But you can't take responsibility for it.
Hold on. I get what you're about to say. No, I get what y'all about to say.
If she would have peeled herself to death.
Listen, no, I'm saying it's so easy. Well, I'm not gonna say easy. It's so complex to be in that situation because I've been in a similar situation, and it's like you're telling me you're gonna hurt yourself. You actually show me pictures how you hurting yourself. You send it to my phone, and it's like at that moment, as a person, what do I do? Like, yes, I get it.
Yes. I'm gonna tell you. No, let me be real with you.
It's complex.
I get it. Let me be honest with you. I've been in that situation several times.
I'm connecting them.
I'm gonna off myself. I'm gonna do this. I've seen the weapon that they were going to use. I've heard the plan. All of that. It was my grandfather that taught me when I was 16 years old because I was carrying my child at that time, and my child's dad was like, "Don't kill myself." Had the knife and everything else. My grandfather said if he was going to, he wasn't going to tell you. He was trying to manipulate you to say, okay, I had to sit with my grandfather for him to tell you, you are not responsible for what this person does because they can't get that suffering under control. Sometimes people have internal emotional suffering that they are assigning to us that has nothing to do with us, and it's them. If you really need to help, I can give you the tools. I can give you the resources. I can call and get the paramedics here. You can have a psyche valve. But I'm not responsible for that. If I say I can't deal with this, and if you try to manipulate me and say, but I'm going to do this to myself, that's on you. I told you what I cannot deal with because I can't put myself in a place of emotional suffering and get stuck in this emotional suffering because you want me to stay there? No, it sounds hard, but it's the truth.
Can we take the conversation to a little bit of shallow waters here? And just because it's like just stay with you for a second. you know, we've been going viral in the Red Bull Room on a clip. And I think that this conversation is very much applicable to the direction I was trying to take the conversation in that clip. So let's say it's not the conversation of, you know, going to the extremity of kings. It's just that you brought a conversation to your girl and you're like, hey babe, you know, I really don't like you. And you see what happens and you say she gets work and she starts crying. And now you're focused on her crying versus the initial conversation. That happens, right? That's the
evil.
So now this time, let's talk about what I was trying to say. What I was trying to say in that moment is literally really what Kitty was saying. That how we can, I wasn't trying to say what you said happened in that situation when it happened. I wasn't trying to say that you weren't a victim. What I was trying to say that in how you control that situation is by staying on your split. And even through them tears and her trying to say, oh, but baby this and oh, but this. I get that you feel that way. But like she said, in my experience, in my reality of what it is, it's A, B, C, and D. That literally was, here's some tissue. That literally was what I was trying to say. When I watch it back, it ain't what happened exactly, but that was what was trying to.
I had to learn that literally through experience as a man, not by even, of course, this prior to this, being able to hear from somebody and say, here's how you handle it, literally by watching women use their manipulation tactics. Not to say that, of course, that was something else to them, like, oh, I know how to get on. But literally, it just being used against me and deciding for her feelings are more important than mine right now at the time. Not necessarily depending on if it was between me leaving or whatever be the case, but whatever she decided that she needed to be emotional over, then that can trump how I came and what I came to the table.
I wanna go back. I wanna answer that again, just briefly, because I want advocate is the wrong word. Just more so explain how it felt when I experienced both situations. But we'll start here. It felt like in the moment, now being wise, being 35, being a little different. In the moment, it felt like everyone else in the world disappeared. Because in that moment, I was the only person that had the raft. And if I let the raft go, if I hung up the phone, if I did not text back, then that person would drown. Whether or not that was real, fake, indifferent, in the moment, that's how I felt.
Yeah, exactly.
And it's a difficult position to be in. And I feel like that's probably why that tactic is commonly used, because you don't want to, in your head, be responsible. Now, you looking as a 40-year-old man. Well, I'm telling you, 22, 23, 25, that shit.
Okay, you big, you bad, you better take yourself out of
Let's go ahead.
But no, but so.
The next conversation does not endorse what Remy Richie Fontaine is saying.
So,
We do not stand on any of that
Put the
shit.
helpline.
But no, even think about it like that. Even that though, even if they reach out to you, I'll cry to you, or whatever the case may be, whether fictitious or not, right? You almost have to. You have to take some, especially as a man. Even if you're calling the helpline, even if you're contacting now, you still are in a position of responsibility to respond, or in your mind to respond in some type of actionable way. So it still influences you to do something. And so I guess what I'm saying is, it should be black and white to not let that happen. But I can understand people that struggle with that. You just said you're still in a position to influence someone to do something in your personal life, right? Mm-hmm. And I'm thinking about in the social media world, as influencers, we got to be careful not to aid the victim mentality in other people. That's why when I run into married couples, happily married couples that have different things going on in their relationship, I really love when they talk about the good things in their relationship, how they overcame certain things. Yes, you had horrible dating experiences. Sure, you did too. But when we come out and we're happily married couples and we jump right into what these other people are going through to play the victim. Oh, these here men ain't nothing. They do this and they do that. It helps aid them in the victim mentality instead of saying, hey, yes, men do that, but guess what? It's great men here too. Right? It's great men here too. My husband does this. He helps me with the kids. He listens to me. He does this. So it's men there. Yes, it's men out there that are bad, of course, but don't stay in that. I got a great man on the back end of that. That's where the learning comes from for the victim to see certain things that's different than what they're getting out there right now.
Let me tell you how I know you're 100% right. I know you're 100% right in this. Yep. Yep.
All right, you got
Wait a minute.
quiet for the rest of the episode.
Yeah,
I'm asking it. I know that he's 100% right because when we go back to the original part of the conversation of when I said that a lot of my initial content was my victimhood and people connecting with me and bonding with me off that, I ended up making a big shift in my content, not because I wanted to, not because I wasn't being received well, not because it was, number one, my life was changing and growing, but number two, I felt like people were relying on me too much. I was getting DMs like, hey, if I didn't see this video today, I was going to kill myself. So then that ended up waking up the anxiety in me, where it was like, oh, I don't do a video today, who might die? Whoa, you're not God, you're not Jesus. Take a step back and refigure out how you're going to approach this influencer thing, because at this point, that's draining.
Yeah.
And that's whatever this trauma line is you got going on with these couple 100,000 people is not worth it for you mentally.
Yeah.
So I agree with that, and I think that that's a good way to not stay in the victim mentality. I think that's also an exception to some people, because everyone's not going to have that triumph story out the gate, or to be able to complete the picture. You know what I'm saying? Like, some people are still working toward that story. So I think that the exception is the person that's usually able to tell that victim story, tell that triumph story, and then, I guess, still win in the situation. That's a privileged story too.
I want to say this, because I think sometimes, I can't say that my approach is not always harsh. Maybe when you draw back this a little bit. Sometimes people think that I'm coming from a harsh place, a judgmental place. I don't believe reality. That's one thing I'm not going to do, because I have been a person who has been in a victim mentality, I've been victimized, operated in a mentality, and conquered that mentality. So I know what it looks like on the other side. So when I'm listening to people, back to what it is that you were saying, because I've been in that situation, I'm feeling like if I didn't help this person, if I didn't stay with this person, I was the last bit of that lifeline that I was going to abandon them. But I had to realize and learn what abandonment actually was. If I deserted them, then I would have abandoned them. But I gave you the sources, I gave you resources, I gave you the tools, I called somebody for you. I told you, you had the warning that this was going to happen. What you choose to do after that is on you. I cannot take that. We can validate people's emotions and their feelings all day long. We don't have to validate delusion. We don't have to validate that. So yes, the easiest way to put it, the BS. We don't have to validate that. It doesn't mean that we're wrong for doing that, because people also have to understand we do have to protect ourselves as well. We can't continue to be people's emotional punching bags and our emotional cushions. Dealing with somebody who's operating in that mentality is a lot to take in. You're constantly having to receive these phone calls and things like that. You constantly have to hear the same story. If you tell them about something you're going through, it becomes their story. That's a lot to take in. Like now, right, I don't have the emotional support that I need from you. We don't have emotional safety in this friendship or in this relationship, because then it becomes one-sided. So then I have to set boundaries for myself. Sometimes you have to protect yourself. You can send people off of love all day long. Sometimes you do have to protect yourself from people who operate in that mentality.
I'll speak to that though, and we're gonna take it on a lighter note, because I know we tried to do that earlier. But even on a lighter note, now I'm not saying these people are operated with victim mentality. Just hear me out. I found out, like, in sometimes in my friendships, and I've been to corporate many times, so I'm not even gonna act like it ain't been me on. When shit bad happens or shit I don't like happens to me that I do not like, or something rubs me the wrong way, or I'm going through something tough, I'll call somebody and I'll vent to them about it. Often, it's comfortable to do that. But I've noticed in those friendships, maybe they don't do it back to me. Right? And over the time, I've noticed maybe it's because when they try to talk to me about stuff, I talk about my stuff. Like you'll introduce some shit and like, man, my wife blah 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 blah. Oh yeah, that's crazy. Hey man, guess what happened to me today? And then you get into that little mode with some of your friends where. So my question is, to light it up at the end of the episode, not necessarily victim mentality, but have you had friends like that where whether it's a relationship that they're complaining about, life that they're complaining about, but it becomes almost draining to you.
Yeah.
That it doesn't feel one-sided no more.
Mhm.
What happens then?
I set boundaries. I just had
boundaries.
I just had a.
With your friends?
Yeah.
Hell, I know.
I had a
I
counselor.
literally just won't answer the phone.
Yeah,
I'm making it simple with myself.
I had a counselor that came onto my show. We had a very deep conversation about this, and we talked about boundaries. And she had never heard a conversation about boundaries. I told her that there's a such thing as conversational boundaries. It's not just physical boundaries. It's not just emotional and spiritual boundaries. There are conversational boundaries. Certain conversations you have to say, I don't want to do it. I don't have the capacity to deal with that right now. Or do you want to vent about this? You know, we always say you want to vent about this. Do you want to change it? Or is it just a venting session? If I'm seeing that you're calling me and you're dumping all of your emotional baggage on me, you have to understand I don't even have the capacity to carry that weight. And so I have to let you know I don't have the capacity to carry that weight. It doesn't mean that I don't love you. It's just I can't have these conversations. If I see you're having the same conversation, baby, look, we talking about the same thing. We can't keep on talking about this because you have to understand, like, even when people call relationship problems and stuff like that, sometimes this creates disdain towards other people, just like you talking about this person to me so often. Now I have a different perception of this person. Now we have discord between me and this person because of what you keep telling me. Yeah, so sometimes you have to set that boundary. Say, and sometimes people, when, especially in friendships, when you hear boundaries, you just think that this is just offensive. No, the reason why people push against boundaries is because it doesn't benefit them. That's why people give you the pushback.
Nah, facts.
But you can't guilt-trip me out of my boundaries because just like you would protect yourself if I called you with all of my emotional boundaries, all of my emotional baggage every day, I have to protect myself as well. And if you love and respect me the way that you say you do, and it's unconditional, not conditional love, you will respect the fact that I'm doing something to protect you.
But
And my mental health.
you know me since third grade, and you about to be talking this fucking boundary word? The crazy
Don't
part?
be the worst people.
That's what I'm about to say. You know me since third grade is why I don't want to talk to you about this shit no more. I had to tell one of my homies, like, our life is just like two different things. He was like, he be on this hopeless romantic shit, but he was a hoe.
Yeah.
So it's like, at the same time, you up here still trying to brag to me. Yeah, like you trying to brag to me about all the new women you getting, but you also still trying to complain to me about how shit not working in your favor. So I had to tell him straight up because I already knew why he was calling me. And I'm with a shorty, like I'm telling her, then started with her. She was like, why don't you just tell me what to talk about it? And the light bulb went off, and I was just like, oh shit. I can tell him I don't want to talk about the hoes. And I told him, I was just like, bruh, don't talk to me about this anymore. I was like, because the thing, when somebody is, and again, this is going back to what Kitty said, people being self-centered. When they self-centered, this is not about them relating to you. You orbit around them. You feel me? And it's like he don't give a fuck about me caring. This is not this is not about that. He want the validation, you know what I'm saying? Because at one point I did care. And that's where he at. You feel me? Like he's stuck in that place. So it's just like, nah, you definitely I think it starts with the conversation about it. Because if I tell you can't speak on it, then you definitely not gonna move like that around me because I don't, I'm not on that.
See, in my experience, in my third grade, that's my third grade friends, and it seems like the people that you've known the longest are the ones that's like, oh,
Yeah. Oh, no, yeah, that's for everybody else.
Excuse me. Oh, you said don't pay your third letter?
Let me just get over that.
It's always the people that seem like that want to, and this could be something that's connected with the whole influencer thing now or whatever, but it's always people that want to portray themselves as being closest to you that could give less than a fuck about your mental capacity, your boundaries you putting up, your growth that you're attempting to do. So you're trying to detach from old behaviors and old ways. They always going to bring up old shit that you was on, or remember when you beat them bitches? Yeah, why are we bringing it up though? I ain't had a fight in 10 years. Like what are you really on right now? It's always some people that's been around for too long and they really contributed shit.
Because people, not everybody, some people have this sense of entitlement that is so unreasonable, unrealistic, and unhealthy that they don't see that the universe is not evolved. Just around them.
You my best friend. Yep. Fuck you mean boundaries? I mean respect it. No, I'm just saying this is the attitude. It's like you talking about your other friends.
Yeah.
I'm your best friend.
Yeah.
You my best friend. And I can't talk to you about this Who can I talk to?
Jesus. Talk to Jesus. So then you set boundaries with yourself as well. Like you have to understand and set that boundaries with yourself as well. I'm not entitled to this.
No, I agree. No, I'm just embodying what I know the retort of somebody. If somebody, because you're better, but yeah. So here's the second part. A lot of times I've noticed, even in those relationships, like I could have been a quarter. I'm not even gonna say it's just everybody else. Is that once you do set a boundary with this conversation, you realize that's the bulk of y'all relationship.
Mm-hmm.
You like shit. Well,
ain't really got nothing. I've always wanted people to feel how I want to feel. I'm sorry, go ahead.
I was gonna say, if I build a gate around my house, a boundary on my property, I'm gonna have to cut the trees down. And that's really what happens in relationships. You put around some shit down. You feel me? When I build a boundary around my mental, around my capacity, around my marriage or whatever, I'm trying to knock some shit down, and some people gonna be out the way then. So we're not saying that making boundaries and setting boundaries is gonna always feel comfortable. We're not gonna say it's gonna always feel good, but we are saying that it's gonna feel better for you in the long run.
Can we work inside that metaphor for a second?
Let's go.
You know who for you and who not. But when you go to build that fence and you ask people, do you mind stepping out the way for a moment so I can put this fence here?
I was gonna say,
you know what I'm saying? And that response alone to let you know who should be there after the fence get built.
Inside
you know what I'm
the
saying?
metaphor, if I gotta argue with my neighbor every day over this little land, I gotta go to court over your little tree. We can't be married. You love this tree that bad. I'm sorry, man. It's coming down.
It's a romantic relationship. When you get to know somebody, have you ever talked to somebody and all they talk about is this problem? Like you trying to date her, and every day she got an issue. Such and such. Exactly. Such and such.
That's who she is.
That means you shouldn't keep going because they outside of your boundary and your capacity and your space.
Can I ask you a question? What if she got pretty feet?
It depends on how old I am.
At one point.
25, I was nailing her to the wall. I'll take it. She don't care about her. I don't want to do it.
Ask you a question. Of course. Do you think you can pick your last serious relationships flip out of a lineup?
Yeah, for sure.
You like me?
Yeah.
You a nasty nigga.
I'm not gonna lie to you. That's been another episode of tonight's Conversation Podcast.
I know that
We'll see you next week.
What you doing?
For men, I think a lot of times in this space, it's all about the woman. It's like when we're dating, it's all about her experience. And then, if I'm reduced to just the roller dick, right? And you don't text me on my birthday. You don't congratulate me on my business, right? You just call me at 2:30 when your nigga don't answer. You're not ready to go home. Uptown came on, and then it transitioned into that Silk and Shaw R&B last 10 minutes. They're like, my nigga's not answering. Let me call fucking Jacob Down dating, right?
What's going on? What's going on? It's your boy Ace Metaphor, and this is the Tonight's Conversation Podcast. Therapists, social influencers, comedians, people you name it, we're here. What's going on? What's going on? It's your boy Ace Metaphor, and this is the Tonight's Conversation Podcast. Back on another Thursday. Now listen, I got a question.
Can you fuck your way over a breakup?
Or through a breakup?
No.
Or healing from a breakup?
No.
Or before the breakup?
Well, okay. That's a good. All right. So here's the thing, though. I think with women, when we get into relationships, now mind you, this is coming from someone who loves sex, right? Now, after a breakup, what you are really missing is not the sex at all. We're talking about it's the intimacy. It's actually when I broke up with my partner, I realized, dang, I want to cook for a man. I actually want to cuddle with a man. I want to wait to watch a show with this person.
And when you watch it,
Did you do all that with your partner?
Yes.
Okay.
And so when we broke up, I went back to the Rolodex, the black book.
Hey, your mom.
They know. Hi, how you been?
Congratulations on your new baby.
So you go back to the people that make you comfortable, but what I realized is those people, as great as the sex was, so much was missing there. I felt empty. I ended up actually telling a guy, I feel empty after this, and we should stop while I'm figuring out this breakup.
How I knew that it didn't work for me was I was like, okay, I'm single now, I'm back outside. So then, I got my Rolodex. I don't like that. I got my Rolodex. And I was like, okay, come on, da-da-da. And during the process, I was like, I wonder if he fucking somebody right now. In my mind, I'm like, I wonder, is he thinking about your ex? Yeah.
Let's talk about it. And your trial is like, I love how women are so hype shit about their Rolodex, right? Hit their dick of the day, call this nigga, shave the coochie down, Uber over there, bag full of tricks. Get there, nut twice.
Who sent me that? No. That's where you're
When you come over the crib, bring your home, not your heart, bro. And be mature about it. I think you're struggling in this transition between single bae and married bae.
No, and I'm gonna stop you right there because I disagree. Because we were talking about the healing process. We were talking about when it just happens, you haven't even done no inner work, nothing. You're just gonna feel better. Once you are, the healed single women have that Rolodex, and they do come with their whole, not their heart. And how I know that men feel the exact same way. First of all, let's specify who we're talking about. Because when we talk about men and we talk about women, we act like we're all a monolith and we're not. Everybody is different, right? And so there are women that are like, hey, because it was me. After I did the work, that night, of course, I needed a break. I said, oh shit, that's how I knew. But once I got my shit together, was single and was dating and doing what I had to do, I said to myself, what are you doing? Am I intentionally dating? Am I just having casual sex? I was wanting to just have casual sex. So at that point, I was running into men that were like, don't just tell me to go home after sex. Why don't you come? No, bring your tip, not your...
Like when you go through the Rolodex, you let them know what kind of appointment this is. Like, is this just a wellness check? Or are we actually trying to tap into our
No, I feel like nobody does. I feel like
that's the problem.
Nobody does.
That's the problem.
This is your, like, what do you...
Well, hold on. Older women will let you know.
Okay.
I will say that.
Yeah.
Hey, listen, I just want some cuddles tonight. I want some dick and Netflix tonight. Can we wake up together type shit. Now, I do believe that there are people that don't know or don't have to verbalize them that know that. But once you get to a spot where you've done like fucking yourself up and fucking up the expectations and confusing people, you will let people know what it is and then they consent to it or not. Because sometimes somebody just wants the cuddle package. And I'm gonna be honest with you, sometimes I want the cuddle package too. I want the cuddle package a lot of times more than I want the fucking package.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
Intimacy is way better
it's a
than
thing.
penetration.
Yeah.
Sure.
But that's what's lost on us when we're dating. Like a lot of men keep back from the intimacy because they don't want to confuse you that it's anymore.
Yeah.
And so a lot of times when you go through that book of men that you could just call up, they will literally just have sex with you and be out. A lot of men don't want you to be confused because let's be very clear too. Women confuse intimacy with he likes it. He wants to be with me. Right. This could be more.
You call me all the time. Why you always over here?
That's your fault.
If we're talking about like just trying to get through a breakup, like okay, a lot of people think the best way to do it is to get over somebody is to get under somebody else.
Yeah.
Right? And a lot of times we don't realize a lot of us be cosplaying as city girls. We're gonna bounce from dick to dick and we're gonna X, Y, and Z.
You can't do it.
We really love our girls.
You're not strong enough.
So like we be out here moving like we can do X, Y, and Z, and then it don't matter how many dicks you go through. At the end of the day, you're like, damn, I still don't bring up girl. Nobody. Yeah, but nobody in this particular section of the Rolodex offers that particular package. So we just gotta be honest with it. And I think it's talk
about the package before we do the sex.
I believe as men are getting more in tune with our emotions.
Are y'all?
And we're becoming more self-aware.
Okay.
We are
better listeners.
Better listeners. We understand that sometimes we got to deliver more of the dick. So we do got to deliver you can lay on my arm and my shit go numb. You know what I'm saying? We know how to deliver.
We also got to stand up for them, man, and say, you know what? Everybody doesn't get the right to my cover. You can come get kicked down. But I have expectations that allow you to sit on my
2024 is different. I hate it already.
Count sheets, right? Like, no, I mean, yeah, the black woman, besides the pizza, well, no, black women and pizza are my two favorite things in this TV, right?
Okay.
And they're all up there together.
Damn.
And we love them. We love black women. We protect black women. We show up for black women, and we want to make sure they're taken care of. Because they agree with this whole thing. That's it. Anytime we're not engaged in a meaningful relationship, a pathway towards a potential forever, anything else we're doing is child's play. I like to call it like a rec center, man. We got kids throwing balls. We got girls in the locker room going crazy. It's a mess out here. Now, how you navigate that should be your own, you should have your own say. Now, you should speak up for yourself. Because there ain't no rules out here. There's no code to boyfriend. There's no code to dating.
We think there is, and
we think there not. And for men, I think a lot of times in this space, it's all about the woman. It's like when we're dating, it's all about her experience. And then, if I'm reduced to just the roller dick, right? And you don't text me on my birthday, you don't congratulate me on my business, right? You just call me at 2:30 when your nigga don't answer and you're not ready to go home. I'll tell you on it, then we transition into
Give me this
Silky Sean R&B last 10 minutes. My nigga's not answering, let me call fucking Jacob Jeff Daily, right? Danny's home, reading his Bible. It's in Peter. He's like, shit, they need it. 2:30 or let me make sure she say, see like, Danny, I miss you. Where you at? And then she like, can you get the rag? She got to eat. I'm gonna call my girlfriends over here. We about to make breakfast. She's like,
Rag is it specific for relationship?
Man,
I used to live in that space.
Right.
Seems like it was a
I did.
Is he breathing?